Welcome back, Antoine Christopher here. Takes this choice in hand as always. Wow, this is episode number 10. How excited are we? I am very excited. Why? Because I started my hockey player, and you guys know how excited I was. And this is Anje Kopitar, Los Angeles Kings captain. Great client. I'm very happy about this. But before I get started, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification button. And as you know, I'm a Patreon member right now, so that's I'm excited. Okay, so I also want to give a shout out to my friend Farman. I've been with this guy since since day one. We've been doing this together. He goes way back. He's the guy behind the camera, actually. So I gotta give the man props because he's always there for me, and he's always there to film, and he does all the editing and the music and the whatever special effects needs. He's the guy behind the camera. So I want to give a shout out to my friend Farman. Okay, so let's get started. So the reason as you can see, I did the cloudy background with the guys, the audience that's watching him. I like doing stuff like this because it gives me a chance to be loose and I get to have fun. I call this my abstract period, my surrealistic period. I just like to perfect it, but not to the detail. But I like to make it come forward. And from there, I'm going to determine how sharp Anjen's going to be. As you can see, he's fully drawn now. Well, it took a while, let me tell you. Whew, a lot of detail went into this guy. So when I do it with the pastels, it's going to be work. And then, this is the crowd, as you can see. And then after you have some of the main hockey players right here, that's the coach. So you have some of the main hockey players right here. That's going to be a little sharper. And then you have the one in the crowd, one skating next to him in the background and distance. That's going to be a little sharper. So you're going to get that 3D effect. But Anjen right here, this bad boy right here, he's going to be sharp as hell. And he's got all the fixings. I may have to draw the feet over a little bit. It's looking a little tiny to me, but I'll figure that out later on. But this is my process. So I'm going to start it. Let me take some time. I'm going to put this right back up here. As you can see, there's not really much, what's the word I'm looking for? Thing to it. There's no big fancy things about it when I draw. It's very simple, basic tape, picture, draw. It took a lot of sketching to do it as well. I had to sketch out the helmet, sketch out the feet, and like I said, I might have to redo the feet. The stick looks a little small, but I'll change that up when I get to it. And I'm looking at some of the detail in the foot of the hockey stick right here. So I'm going to change that up. I'm still going to have to determine how much detail. And if you notice from the original, this is the original drawing, by the way, the original picture. I cut out this guy in the background and I kept this guy in, but I took this guy and I moved him closer to Anjen because it made it more. I thought it gave it more dramatic. It gave it more of a dramatic effect. So that was my call. Everything else I kept the same. I angled this differently. I put mine in a little sharper angle so it looked like he's coming down with it. So it looked like there's a flow to it, like that. That was my call again. I did that. And I like to do stuff like that. I don't like, you could copy a picture. Anybody can really copy a picture if you're an artist. But you can copy a picture, and that's great. But you got to make it your own. I'm not a photo. I don't like to say I'm tracing or who traces, but anyway, some people do, but you can always tell. But I don't like to make it exactly like the pic. I like to put my own little finesse into it because photographs have, mistakes in it, right? So I like to give my own little take on it. So I'll change things around, I'll clean it up, make things sharper. Sometimes I'll even tell Farman to scan it into his Photoshop and bring out certain areas that I think should be popping. So I'll do that. When you're being creative with your artwork, even if you're drawing a family portrait or something that you like, you got to put your own little take into it. You just can't directly copy it line for line, dot for dot, square for square. You got to put a little flair into it. You got to see what looks better, And like if you're doing oil painting or acrylics, oil painting you can get so hyper realistic because you got a number 1 brush, you got a 0 brush, you can come back, it's not even dry, tiny it come. I mean, you could do so much to make it hyper. But to me, like I said in my previous videos, that takes away from the art part. So I don't like to, to try to get that hyper with pastels is an ongoing challenge, and it's something that I like. So try to make the picture your own. Try to even if it's you're copying a picture, or I don't like to say copy, but even though you're reproducing a picture, try to make it your own. Try to change things about it. Try to bring out things in it that make it look a little bit more robust. Right? Maybe the reds, maybe a highlight underneath an area that looks dark. Maybe bring out the background a little bit more. Maybe take away the background. Anything to make it your own. Don't just make it line for line, dot for dot, and all that stuff. Okay? That's my little advice. So as you see, that's what I'm doing with this guy. He's going to be extremely sharp. Like, you see the gloves are dark right now. In the picture that Farman sent me, he put an overlay underneath it, and it popped it out. Gave me all the details I need to see in the glove. So I'm going to be happy about that. The logo right here for the Stanley Cup final, and the logo down here. All his logos, again, Farman went into his Photoshop. He cleaned it up, made it sharp. And then I was able to draw it as sharp as I want to draw it. So I was able to do that, which is great. The one on the neck as well, obviously it's not really seen on the original drawing. Since I'm blowing it up to, I think this is about 28 inches, I wanted to make it more detailed, so I did that. He brought out his face more, so I was able to get his mask with his eyes, which you will see as I continue drawing. Alright, so, that being said, I'm going to go get changed, get into my attire to draw, and you guys will see a little bit of my process. Alright, looking forward to it. Once again, Antoine Christopher. I just love coffee. See ya, I'll be back. I'm back! Alright, now I'm excited. Got my drawing attire on. I'm ready. Okay? So I'm going to start, like I said, I still have to perfect up here. So I'm going to go and clean it up a bit, make it more cloudy. So once I know how cloudy this is going to be, I'm able to move with the next stuff in the foreground, which is these hockey players that are closer. And then this big massive one right here, which is a little closer. But Anže over here, my man, Kopitar, it's going to be sharp. 3D. We're going in. We're going in, people. Alright, let's get started. Alright. As you can see, I have my little stool on the bottom. I'm just saying. Okay. So I got my carbothellos here. I want to make it more cloudy. So making it more cloudy, I'm just going to be going into these areas right here. I'm going to be smudging it a little bit more than normal. So now I'm just getting it, all I'm doing right here in this process is making it more cloudy. Alright, and when I say more cloudy, the more cloudy it is, the more you can make it blurry. And when I say cloudy, I mean blurry, for those who need the exact word. So I'm making it more blurry, so it appears that they're more in the distance, which is true. You don't want too much detail in this area, right? But you still want it to be smooth. Okay, you still want it to be nice and smooth. Color, I'm not really worried about the color I'm using. It's right now I'm using a 640 carbothello. It's like a dark brown. Ta-da! And I'm just taking it very slowly, very lightly, making the rough edges. I still want the people to look like people, but at the same time I don't want definition of their mouth and all that sort of stuff, but I still want them to look like they got something of a nose and just a hint of it. Alright? So that's what you want to do at this stage. I remember, I like to think that I'm a perfectionist, so I am a perfectionist. So when I'm drawing, I want the blend to look beautiful. Even though your eye is not going to be focused on it, I still want it to be looking sharp and blurry. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just going over certain areas. So I'm doing that. Okay, that was Farman's phone if you heard that. Alright, so that was his phone, not mine. So I'm doing this, and I'm just pretty much jumping from everywhere. I'm not really stuck in one area, but I'm up close myself looking at it, right? So I'm really close to it. So me being this close, I could see where it doesn't look like it's blended nicely. And like I said, you could just use any color, right? And all you're doing is blurring it out even more. I'm switching to a darker color, black. You know, some people, when your carpet towels break, mine could break like this, and I still keep the tip because this is useful to me, right? I don't need a point right now. I have a point like this when I'm trying to get in sharp, but for what I'm doing right now, this is fine. You know, this is really actually a fun stage for me, because this is the stage I get to be loose. I get to have my abstract side of me come out. Like, I don't really draw abstract unless a client wants it. And when I do abstract, I do it with my left hand because it controls a lot less. But for the sake of this drawing right now, I'm gonna just use this and use my right. So you see, I'm slowly just seeing where it's not blurry, seeing where it doesn't make sense. Like, for me, it's important to be able to, people call it what? Ambidextrous? Ambidextrous? That would be me. I guess I'm saying that word right. But like I said, I'll do abstract with my left, right? Because it allows me less control with my left. So when I'm doing stuff like this and smudging, I like to use my left hand in the control, because it doesn't have any control. It has control, but nothing like my right. So abstract is done with my left, and perfection is done with my right. And you know, everybody has their little method. So, and like I said, don't try to. I want people to be the type of artists is, like, even though you say, well, it's just the background. Yeah, but your background has to be perfect. Your background, if the better your background looks, imagine how good it'll make the foreground look. Just think about it like that. I'm like that, right? So that's why I do what I do. So I'm going to be switching again, going back to my brown, because I got a face part coming up over here, right? And remember, you don't want the faces to look. You don't want the faces to look like they don't make sense. You still want them to look like they make sense. You know, like I could have put a bunch of circles and just dots, right? But you want the faces to make sense. So, in order for them to make sense, you still have to put a hint of a mouth, a hint of a nose, right? You still have to do that. And remember, like I said, even though it's the background, you still want it to look good. You still want to put effort. You still want to make it look like if you're drawing the foreground stuff, like the sharp stuff, right? Because like I said, I'm the type of guy, I want the background to look just as good as the subject in the foreground. Okay. Well, that was a little showdown of how much I did. I got quite a bit done, and that's the first step of how much I got done and how we're doing it. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to start actually more of the ice rink, and looking forward to showing you guys how it is. But I'm loving this one. This one's fun, I have to admit, and I'm looking forward to showing you guys the end results. Again, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button, and just remember I'm a Patreon member now, so whatever you feel like doing. And I also want to always thank my friend Farman, who's behind that camera. This is Antoine Christopher signing off. Coffee in hand, taster's choice. You know how much I love my coffee. Love my coffee. But this thing, coffee just helps me get through my drawing. I love it. I love knowing a pot is brewing, and I got this. So, enough of the coffee talk. Let's get back to art. So I'm going to finish this, get more done. I'm looking forward to it. See you guys later.